What's poppin', players? Welcome back to the Two Penny Gamescast, episode 119. I am your host, Tavin Bothel, here with my good friend and co-host, Connor Elliott. Say hello to the people, Connor.
Hello and happy Halloween. When you're watching it, it'll be Halloween.
It will indeed be Halloween. There you go. Hello and happy Halloween to everybody at home. Connor, how's your week been?
It's been good. Had a little party last night for the Halloween times.
I saw that.
Yeah.
You and the boys were dressing up as some minions?
Yep. And I felt good about it. It's nice to be a part of a collective like that.
I'll say, and to dive into sort of your process in drinking, to get into that, you like to start recording videos and sending them to your friends when you get a little under the influence.
Yeah. I didn't do that.
Huh?
I didn't do that, did I?
Oh boy, yes you did.
Okay, it's funny because I at some point just kind of don't remember anything.
No, really?
And
no.
I fell asleep and I woke up and everyone was like gone. I was like, what?
Oh,
and
no.
I never remembered. Never remembered.
Yeah, so somebody in our group chat sent a video of y'all starting your night out with some shots. And I was like, oh, they're having a party. Cool, whatever. They're doing the little Halloween thing. Neat. I'm chilling with my girlfriend. We're hanging out. We're watching I think we were watching like Grey's Anatomy at the time or something. Because that's her show. She loves that shit.
Popular show.
And then I get a video from you. And I already know you've been drinking. So I'm sitting here and I go, oh, babe, look at this. This is going to be great. And sure enough, there you are in the bathroom in front of the mirror. Hi, Tavin. We're having a party. I'm drunk. And I'm like, oh boy.
I don't remember that.
Yeah, man. Yeah, it was good. We were enjoying ourselves watching it happen. You had invited me out and I was like, we're good. We're good for the night. And you were like, understood. Gotcha. Very honorable. And I was like, this fucking guy. Oh, I love you, buddy. But anyways, ladies and gentlemen, that's not why we're here today. We're here to give you the new news in the video game industry. If you didn't know, every week, me and Connor come to you with video game news. We each bring you two topics, two pennies, if you will, and we give you our 2 cents on them. But if just talking about video games isn't enough, you want to see some gamers have some real gaming moments, well, hop on over to youtube.com/2pennygamescast, where every Tuesday we drop a new part in our hype series, Have You Ever Played?, in which me and my good buddy Phil sit down and we make each other play video games that the other has never played before. Right now, we're going through our series of Kingdom Hearts 2 that we recorded, over a year ago at this point. And those are going up every Tuesday, so keep an eye out for that. Also, keep an eye out for our new podcast that drops every Saturday morning at 8 a.m., The Piggy Bank, in which me, Phil, and Connor all sit down and we just kind of chitty-chat about video games and what's fun about them, and we play little mini-games and stuff, and those mini-games get broken out and put up over on our TikTok, 2 Penny Games, so go check all of that out. One thing to also remember is our monthly video game book club is up next week. We are reviewing Dishonored. If you've been playing alongside with us, make sure that you're up on that playthrough and you're ready to come join us for that conversation. We want all your hot takes, all of your impressions, opinions, all of them. Give them to us. Drop down in the comments, all that fun stuff. This show, however, you get every Monday at 8 a.m. Central Time, youtube.com/2pennygamescast or mainstream podcast services of your choice. And Connor, let's drop some sense on him, my friend. Let's get right into news story number 1. Something's going on over here at Naughty Dog. Some PlayStation stuff. So
some plans being hatched.
I'm saying. So PlayStation is building a new studio to work with Naughty Dog on a game, on a unannounced game. This is from Ryan Dinsdale over at IGN. Sony is building a new development studio to work with Naughty Dog on a major PlayStation game. As spotted by VGC, a job listing shows the new art team The new team is being created in collaboration with PlayStation Studios Visual Arts, a developer that previously assisted with PlayStation's motion capture, cinematics, animation, and more across several franchises, including Uncharted and The Last of Us. This new developer will then work with Naughty Dog to create a PlayStation game. Quote, "This high visibility project is being developed in collaboration with Naughty Dog," the job listing reads. "Though currently unannounced, we have a clear vision and plan to release. Using our existing expertise and premier talent, we will guarantee a high visual quality bar for the game and a compelling experience for our players." Though Sony doesn't say explicitly that the new game will be a AAA production, it does request that the candidate is, quote, "proficient in all aspects of AAA game production and management, and has published at least 2 AAA games previously." Though nothing is confirmed, hints towards PS5 Visual Arts becoming a developer of its own projects instead of supporting others have appeared throughout the last few years. One job listing from 2020 showed the company was hiring a third-person action-adventure game with melee and ranged combat. This description would appear to match an Uncharted game, typically tying in nicely with the Naughty Dog collaboration. And the studio's creative director, Sean Eskag, sorry for mispronouncing your name, said earlier this year that it's a world, quote, "we want to see more of." Connor.
Yeah.
PlayStation building a new studio to work with Naughty Dog on an unannounced game. What do we've got here, man? What is cooking? What's developing here?
Well, it's a world we want to see more of. And that could be anything.
That could be anything. And,
It really
I
can.
think even the description, even though that's a different studio, let me find it right here. The PSS Visual Arts becoming a developer of its own project. So maybe this is just an expansion on that studio. Let's dump a bunch of funding into them. Let's blow them up. Let's expand on their talent and their team in order to give them a full game. We know that there has been development on Naughty Dog's front to sort of, how can I say this? Expand the Naughty Dog team. To give it a whole new studio, not just 2 teams within the one studio, but to have a new studio and location working on that. So Naughty Dog continuing to be PlayStation's golden child. We saw, what I'm saying is, when we saw this is what we're talking about with Ben Studio after Days Gone didn't seem to pan out the way Sony wanted it to, and how they were talks of being Naughty Dog South or North or whatever they were being called at the time. And clearly that didn't seem to work out super well in the direction that they were going for. So maybe this is the direction we're going. In terms of what we're getting, I mean, it's been a while since we've seen Uncharted, right? 2016 for Uncharted 4, 2017 for Lost Legacy. Both of which great games. And, I would personally love to see more Uncharted, but I don't see how this isn't also The Last of Us. Now, maybe they want to keep Last of Us inside Naughty Dog Prime and have only the big boy Neil Druckmann working on Last of Us type stuff. With we have Last of Us factions coming hopefully next
Sometime.
year.
You would. It's been 2 years since
It's been a minute.
Came out.
It's been a minute, and I assume it's gonna be Last of Us 2 engine and gameplay and stuff. And we have seen leaks of Last of Us multiplayer gameplay leak from Last of Us 2. So that's all happening on the Prime side. So I think we've got our fill on The Last of Us right now, and I don't suspect they're gonna hand the reins off to a Last of Us Part 3 to a new studio. Though, it was said there, Laura Bailey was making some headlines saying that she's very much open to returning to the role of Abby. And more of that. So maybe a Last of Us spin-off title with Abby, maybe. I could see that as a potential thing that's happening. But yeah, I mean, even the description of third-person shooting, long range and melee combat, right? Third-person action-adventure game with melee and ranged combat, specifically. I think that fits both of Naughty Dog's premier franchises. Oops.
It does. Which, it make more sense since it's a world they want to see more of. I feel like that'd most likely be The Last of Us if we're talking about that, or Uncharted. Because Uncharted overall is like, it does cool things, but not really because the universe itself allows for it. It takes place effectively in our time, and they just go on wacky adventures. Whereas Last of Us It's a world that's post-apocalyptic, where the entire United States and the rest of the world is infected with this disease. You can go anywhere and come up with a lot more crazier things, I think, than you could with something like Uncharted. But still, it could be both.
Yeah, it really could be either. The thing about it for me, excuse me, while I empty my pockets real quick. How professional. The thing about it for me is, do we want either of these to come back right now? Like,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if we want to rush to a part 3 of The Last of Us anytime soon. I don't think Abby as a character made enough of an impact to justify her own game. Um, and with Last of Us factions coming down the pipeline, we know already. And I think just Naughty Dog Prime is ready for something new. Like they feel primed for something new. We're in a new generation of games. We've spent the better part of the last generation just working on Uncharted 4 and Last of Us Part 2. The entire generation before that was almost entirely Uncharted, plus Last of Us there at the end. And Naughty Dog has always had a history of switching franchises with generations. Now, it got a little murky with the Last of Us situation, but that's understandable when you think of like how the recession, the 2008 recession, extended the life of the PlayStation 3. And Last of Us just happened to fall within that early window and then landed in 2014 on the PS4 generation, and then we spent that entire generation closing out Uncharted and continuing Last of Us and stuff. So now it's like, okay, well, from Naughty Dog, me personally, I want to see something new. I'm tired of returning to these characters and so forth. Not that I think that we would return to a Nathan Drake story. I think his story is done and closed, and I think there's a huge number of different directions you could take that franchise in. And me personally, I would rather see an Uncharted than a Last of Us right now. Especially if it's a new studio. I'd love to see a new take on the franchise, something to kind of freshen it up, because as much as I love Uncharted 4 and Uncharted 2 and really the series as a whole, it's getting a little stale, right? Like like we've seen all we can see from those types of games, I would say, right? Like what else can we do there? To the point to where like Uncharted 4 didn't have huge set pieces, they had huge character moments, which is great, and I love it, and I think Uncharted's charm is its characters. But how much high octane energy can we have without developing mechanics in any way? And I think that's what Uncharted is in desperate need of. And I think a new studio would, be a prime opportunity to evolve that, especially if they take the helm and continue the Uncharted brand, but with new characters. I think part of the problem with Bend working on the Uncharted Vita game, which I'm struggling to remember the name of right now.
Lost Golden Abyss.
Golden Abyss, thank you. God damn.
I knew.
The thing with Golden Abyss is that though Nolan North did bring that charisma and that thing, and I think Nolan North is done with the role as well. Like, I'm sure he loves it and would come back to it, but what other depths are there to take with that role? I don't know.
He's definitely done Nathan Drake. It'd be really stupid if they did bring him back, because they capped off his story perfectly.
And like I wouldn't mind seeing him in those games, especially in spoilers for Uncharted 4 with Cassie. Like, I would assume he's a prominent role in her life. Like, we would meet him and see him at the beginning or the middle or the end, but I don't know if he would go alongside with her on those adventures, especially because you would assume that, Cassie would be the prime choice to take the mantle to continue on the Uncharted legacy. But yeah, man, where was I going? Oh, Uncharted Golden Abyss, where it had so much flavorings of Uncharted. And it also played into the Vita gimmicks because it was one of those early Vita titles. But it just didn't have that same punch that a Naughty Dog Uncharted game have. And I think that's because they failed to really give it its own identity. It was so tied into the Nathan Drake story, with Nathan being the main character. It was so tied into being a Naughty Dog experience on the go that, like, it just kind of came out and it was good. It's a good Uncharted game and it's a good mobile experience, but is it ranking high in the Uncharted game catalog? No. Like, So much so that like Naughty Dog's B team put out a way better, side story than this one. So, um, and I just don't know who's clamoring for Uncharted right now. Who is like, oh, you know what I really want? Another one of those Uncharted games. Like, I just don't know. I don't see anybody really wishing for that.
Yeah, it's all speculatory, but you are right. Ultimately, there needs to be something new
Mm-hmm.
with Naughty Dog type properties, because Last of Us came out of nowhere and it's turned into the game it has. What could they do with something else? We as long as they keep clinging to these old IPs, we're never going to find that out. It's
Yeah.
of course safe from a company standpoint, which obviously probably factors into this a lot since they know they already got an audience for it. But branch out, because we're not a part of the business. We want to see more new interesting things.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of fans do as well.
Yeah. And just the story of Naughty Dog as a studio. Like, you look back on their PS1 days with Crash Bandicoot, and then how that grows into Jak and Daxter, and then how that grows into Uncharted, and then how that like, they're continuously evolving and elevating and stepping up their game, and it's usually at the start of a new console generation. And we've been in this generation for a little bit now. Like, to see them start off with a Last of Us Part 1 remake, to start off with Last of Us Factions. Yeah, the new title from Naughty Dog, I want it to be something fresh, something new. I think they as a studio are pretty done with Uncharted. Also with the Emmy Henning stuff, like maybe they just don't want to really keep revisiting that well. So it would make sense to pass that title on to a new one. And we are, as an audience, full on Last of Us. We have a remake. We have part 2. We have Factions coming. We have a TV show coming. We've got enough Last of Us right now. So I think in terms of this new studio, I think Uncharted makes more sense. I just don't know who's clamoring for Uncharted. Even after the movie, did we see an increase in Uncharted 4 sales? Did we see an increase in the Nathan Drake collection? I feel like we would have we would have heard about it if that were the case. And because we didn't hear about it, maybe they did see a spike, but it wasn't substantial enough to talk about it, So yeah, I don't know. Maybe we just remake Uncharted 1 and put Tom Holland in it.
Oh God, you'd be kind of stretched thin on stuff you can do with video games if that's what you're resorting to.
Ah, Jesus Christ, no kidding. Moving on to topic number 2, Connor, and that was your first penny of the day. So now we're on to my first penny. PlayStation Discord integration reportedly coming in March 2023. This is a Push Square article by Khalil Adam. Khalil Adam, excuse me, Mr. Adam, for mispronouncing that name. The long-awaited integration of popular VoIP and instant messaging social platforming Discord with our beloved PlayStation is reportedly coming in March 2023. And to be more precise, on the 8th. That's according to sources familiar with the subject who spoke to industry insider Tom Henderson of Insider Gaming. Henderson's sources provided the clarification following an update to the Discord mobile app last week, which showed PS5 and PS4 functionality. Apparently, voice chat will only be available on PS5, with PS4 users only being able to display the name of the game they are playing. Discord could present the solution to cross-platform play's greatest issue, that of voice chat between competing systems. It is believed that the integration will arrive as a part of PlayStation 5's V7.0 version update. Obviously, these things can change as we have been experiencing Discord integration to be added. We have been expecting Discord integration to be added for some time now. Yeah, okay, great. I'm down. Give me some PlayStation voice integration. I'm with that 100%.
Yeah, I've been waiting for it. It's been a long time coming, all things considered.
Yeah, well, Last of Us, there was that partnership, or Last of Us, last year, there was that partnership between PlayStation and Discord that we really haven't heard much on outside of, being able to connect your two accounts and show, your Discord friends what you're playing on PlayStation. But yeah, and the article points out the biggest problem with crossplay right now is that there's no clear way to talk with everybody on the same thing. Connor, look up for me real quick. Does Xbox have Discord chat right now?
I believe they do, but let me double check.
Do. I believe we covered it on this show, and we were surprised that Xbox got to it first. But yeah, just fact check that for me real quick. But yeah, it's the biggest issue with crossplay gaming right now is that we just don't. They do. Okay, yeah. So that would solve all of our problems. And Discord being the premier version for that over the pandemic, I think Discord kind of became, at least in terms of gaming industry and production, in terms of content creation, which gaming has a huge market in content creation. Um, Discord kind of became the prime vendor for communication and voice chats and video chats and all of these things on this side of the industry. With alongside the rise of Zoom. And so this is just exciting for me personally. I love that we're getting some uniformity amongst all of these giants, and some agreements that, hey, it would just be better if we could all just play and talk to each other as easily and as seamlessly as possible. Hopefully, fingers crossed on this, knowing PlayStation, hopefully it is as seamless as the Xbox chat is.
You would hope. I would hope. I mean, all this, the technical aspects of how you get Discord to work on PlayStation, I obviously couldn't tell you how that would work. Better minds than me are going to be working on that part. But, I don't see why they'd be failing at any Discord PlayStation integration. I mean, it'd be really sad if they did, because it's just voice chat. You wouldn't think it'd be that difficult.
Well, I mean, I'm sure just the interconnections over different IPs and brands and different networking and stuff can be quite challenging and so forth. And it has to start being installed into the PlayStation 5. I imagine the reason we're not getting it on PS4 is because it's so complicated. And I imagine if you're in a Discord chat, you can't also connect to a PlayStation chat, because PS4 and PS5 players can talk to each other. But I imagine PS5 players can only jump into Discord, and it acts as a Discord chat. It's, probably homegrown on Discord, and we just kind of throw each other into it, and so forth, which is probably the main reason as to why the 4 isn't going to have this type of compatibility. Is either like the networking just doesn't work with how the 4 is built, or we're just trying to sunset the 4 as we continue on into the 5 generation, especially because this isn't coming until next year. Early next year, granted. We're only, 4 months away from this?
Yep.
No, 5 months away from this. So, we're entering the 3rd year of the PlayStation 5. It's time to start, making it be our main focus, even though there's 120 million or whatever PS4s out there in the wild. But yeah, I'm very excited for this. Sorry, I'm dealing with some side stuff. Very busy right now. But yeah, I'm very excited for this. This is gonna, I played around with PC gaming, but I like being on the PlayStation ecosystem more. I like getting my trophies. I like, playing with a controller. I like playing with my DualSense, and I just prefer everything to be on my PlayStation 5. And, sure, I'll download a PC game and play it and, fuck around in Discord and all that. But this would be a way, like, while I'm out trophy hunting or playing whatever the fuck I'm playing, Lego Star Wars or something, this would be nice for me to be able to have the opportunity to jump back into those voice chats and not have to load up my computer. Also, yeah. I just don't like playing on my computer. Like, it feels like my computer is a workspace. And I want a play space. And the PlayStation allows that for me. Connor, moving on to topic number 3 and your second penny of the day. We're doing a little bit of a two for here, ladies and gentlemen. So let's start with the big news real quick. Taking my time code. The Witcher 1 is getting a remake, which, oh, thank God.
right.
So we're pulling straight from TheWitcher.com. The Witcher remake is in development. We are thrilled to announce that The Witcher remake is being worked on. That's right, the game that started it all is being rebuilt from the ground up in Unreal Engine 5. The game is currently in early stages of development as Polish studio Fool's Theory, where veteran Witcher series staff are involved. We, as CD Projekt Red, are providing full creative supervision. The Witcher remake is what you might know by the codename Canis Majoris. It's still too early, and we want to ensure that the game is created with the utmost care and attention to detail. Therefore, while we're excited to share the news with you, we want to ask you for patience, as it will be a while until we start talking about this project in detail. Continuing, quote, The Witcher is where it all started for us for CD Projekt Red. It was the first game we made, ever, and it was a big moment for us then. Going back to this place and remaking the game for the next generation of gamers to experience it feels just as big, if not bigger, said Adam Badowski, head of Studio CD Projekt Red. Quote, collaborating with Fool's Theory on the project is just as exciting as some of the people there have been previously involved in the Witcher games. They know the source material well. They know how much gamers have been looking forward to seeing the remake happen, and they know how to make incredible and ambitious games. And although it will take some time before we're ready to share more about and from the game, I know it'll be worth the wait. End quote. Connor, as someone who enjoyed The Witcher 3, how are you feeling about this?
I'm really good, happy, because I have seen bits of the first Witcher, and I never wanted to play that game ever. Because man, it looked rough.
It looks rough. It's rough.
Granted, it's an older game.
Yeah.
So I'm always of the belief that when you remake a game, it should be something that has a point. There should be a point to remaking it, unless it's something that I super enjoy. In that case, I don't care the reasons why they're doing it.
That Bloodborne remake. That's all you want.
Yeah, exactly.
Dirty green bastard.
But The Witcher needs a remake. Bloodborne deserves it.
You just want 60. We just want 60 FPS. That's all we want. If it was just an update, people would be happy.
So cool. It looks so cool. But yeah, that's all. But besides that, when it does come out, I'll get it because I do want to enjoy all of the Witcher games. I still haven't played 2, which I'm going to soon because you bought it for me.
That one's rough too, by the way. It's rough.
Is it?
Yeah. I mean, it's better than the first one, but it's rough.
Huh. Well, at least that's playable. Versus the first one.
It will be playable. You, as someone who likes to dive into older games and experience older systems and sort of the jankiness of them and the stiffness of it all before like we really got this like where we are today, you would enjoy it. You would have a lot of fun with it, especially with all of the different branching paths that game goes down. You would have a great time with Witcher 2.
Then I'll play it, but not. Well, I guess I'll play that before the first one because this isn't going to come out for a while.
Oh no, we got a minute.
Yeah, but sometimes I'm of the belief that you shouldn't announce things too quickly. I mean, the video game industry that's a pretty big issue where they'll say this game's coming out and then like Beyond Good and Evil, and now look where we are. We don't know when that game's coming out. Why'd they announce it? Obviously, that wasn't the right time for it.
I think this is a little different because I don't believe Beyond Good and Evil 2 is ever coming out.
This is different because it's a remake of a game. Yeah. Which, when it comes to remakes, it's already out. It's not new. It's not, it's a game we already can.
I mean, but they're rebuilding. They're going to have to remake the entire game. Like, rebuilding from the front, like, from the bottom up. Like, everything is going to be new. Gameplay, visuals. They'll probably have to update voice cast in a bunch of different ways and so forth. Music, all of it's going to have to be remade because it's a cool foundation in terms of plot. Like, where your plot is going at least. But you're going to have to, just by the base of what this game is, you're just going to have to throw a lot of it away. Keep it for reference, but throw a lot of it away and start again anew. Like it's going to be damn near close to like the difference between Final Fantasy VII and Final Fantasy VII Remake, like in terms of like a gameplay and visuals and fidelity level. Like, obviously the original Final Fantasy VII is way older than the original Witcher, but it's going to be that thing where like these are going to be two completely different games.
Mm-hmm. Which, I mean, like, it's fine. Like I was gonna say, announcing it so far out for a remake for something that already exists kind of nullifies the issues that other game companies might face with prematurely announcing their games.
There's a level of certainty that kind of comes with it, right? The fact that it's still done under the umbrella of CD Projekt, the fact that Witcher veterans are working on the project, you're assuming, you're making some assumptions that this is in good hands, like in terms of from the fans' perspective. In terms of it being announced so early, I think CD Projekt Red just kind of needs as much goodwill as they can right now. And I think in terms of announcing things, they're drumming up excitement. We're excited for the next CD Projekt Red game. It seems like Cyberpunk 2077 has sort of come back a little bit. People are playing it. People are they're breaking concurrent streaming records and all that all the time now. So I think CD Projekt, took a huge misstep with the launch of Cyberpunk. But I think they're working their way back. Now, Connor, what's interesting about this is that over the last generation, we've kind of seen in my opinion, we've seen a fall off from our Western RPG studios. You think of BioWare, you think of Bethesda Game Studios, you think of what happened with Cyberpunk. And now we're sort of seeing what could be a revival from each of these studios, and in sort of different ways. I'm more hopeful for CD Projekt Red than I am for the other two, and I do believe that Starfield is going to be a really good Bethesda game, but I think it's still going to be a Bethesda game. Um, and then, of course, who knows what's going to happen with BioWare, with Dragon Age coming down. Hopefully, that's going to be quality. And then Mass Effect on its way behind that. Again, hopefully, that's going to be quality. But there's just no real way to tell until we get our hands on these things. But it's just kind of interesting to see this sort of continuous rise and fall amongst, what are now our three giants. And for different reasons. CD Projekt Red had such a great underdog story leading up into The Witcher 3. And then the misstep of Cyberpunk isn't like a reputation ruining thing, but it is always going to be this huge blemish on their history. It is always going to be a big mark of like, all right, we can be excited for the next Witcher game, whether it's the remake, whether it's the new series, whether it's whatever else they've got going on. We can be excited for the next CD Projekt Red game, but we always have to remember what they did during Cyberpunk. But that's not something you can't come back from,
Yeah.
And it wasn't like Cyberpunk was a bad game. It was just broken and unplayable. But once they made it playable, people are enjoying it. People are having a good time. Whereas, Mass Effect Andromeda fell flat, pretty hard, and then Anthem didn't catch anybody's hearts or minds or anything. And then you look at the Bethesda front, Fallout 4, though it wasn't bad by any means, but it was just more Fallout. People were, I don't want to say underwhelmed, but they certainly were a little less than whelmed. You know what I mean? And then Fallout,
I saw a lot of disappointment from Fallout 4. People obviously enjoyed it, they played it, but they just like, this is the next Fallout game?
The expectations were so high, and we just kind of didn't get what we were hoping for. And then that immediately followed up with the tremendous flop that is Fallout 76. And how, they tried to bring it back, and I'm sure there are people who are enjoying it, but obviously, because it's still going, it outlived Anthem. I think there's just a want for something new, and hopefully Starfield can produce them for Bethesda. Though it doesn't seem like Starfield is going to be the most revolutionary thing of all time.
Yeah, no, it doesn't.
So all of that just to say, I'm excited to see this Witcher remake. I've played a lot of The Witcher 3. I played it all the way through twice. I've platinumed the game. I love the game. It's fantastic. I've had the itch to go back to the game recently, actually, which is kind of funny. And then I've played Witcher 2 and enjoyed it for what it is. I like Witcher 2, but it's just not Witcher 3 in my opinion. And then I enjoyed the first season of the TV show, and we'll get to some news on that in just a few seconds. I read the first Witcher book, so like I'm a solid fan of the Witcher universe. So yeah, I'm excited to see more from it. However, I don't know how much more from it I'm excited to see, because pulling an Instagram post from Sir Henry Cavill, speaking of the TV show, Henry Cavill posts some news to share from the continent. My journey as Geralt of Rivia has been filled with both monsters and adventures, and alas, I will be laying down my medallion and my swords for Season 4. In my stead, the fantastic Mr. Liam Hemsworth will be taking up the mantle of the White Wolf. As with the greatest of literary characters, I pass the torch with reverence for the time spent embodying Geralt and enthusiasm to see Liam's take on this most fascinating and nuanced of men. Liam, good sir, this character has such a wonderful depth to him. Enjoy diving in and seeing what you can find. That's unfortunate. Season 3 coming, I believe, next year. I think even early next year. I don't know for certain on that. I liked Witcher Season 1. I watched the first episode of Season 2 and enjoyed it. And then I just fell off, got distracted, got busy, just didn't get back to it. TV is kind of a weak spot for me in general. I'm cool.
Yeah, that's a signing off point for me and apparently a lot of other people, since I see a lot of people pointing out that, well, there goes one of the like the best part of the show.
Yeah. Well, I think it's
Goodbye.
because Cavill gets it. He gets the nerd shit. You know,
He
it's why
does.
he's spent so much time with The Witcher. It's why he's done things like play Superman, and it seems like he's returning to Superman, which I imagine is one of the main reasons as to why he's stepping down from Geralt, is so that he can focus on maybe a revival of Superman. We'll see. But you know, it's been kind of documented that Cavill's a purist when it comes to the source material. He wants it to be as close and as accurate as possible. And from my understanding and from what I've heard, the showrunners feel differently.
Yes, that's to say the least.
So I think a lot of this has to probably do with some creative differences. And hopefully it just means that, you know, no real bad blood. We're just kind of, all right, we're going in a different direction, and I no longer want to be involved with this project because I care so much about the source material that it comes from. You know, he's a big fan of the games and so forth. And so I imagine, yeah, it's I think we're going to start seeing a change in trajectory in the show that I don't know will service the fans as well as where the show has been so far, but who knows? Maybe now the show will be more interesting. Maybe it'll be a little more, it'll probably, I imagine, lose some of its character and the uniqueness of it. But, I don't know, man. If the reviews are good, maybe I'll stay on. No disrespect to Liam Hemsworth, but, I think
Yeah.
Cavill's been doing a pretty solid job as Geralt. Impressively solid, even.
Oh yeah.
So, yeah, it's unfortunate to see him go.
And now I will not watch it.
Connor said, I'm out. Don't
He's
fucking
out.
come to me with this bullshit.
Right?
Oh, I love you, buddy. Anyways, moving on to our final topic of the day and my final penny of the day. Xbox prices increases are coming. This is an IGN article by Ryan Dinsdale. Phil Spencer says Xbox hardware or subscription prices will have to rise at some point, but not this holiday. Xbox Game Pass and Xbox Series consoles could go up in price at some point, according to Phil Spencer. But the increase won't happen this holiday period. As reported by The Verge's Tom Warren on Twitter below, during the Wall Street Journal's WSJ Live event, the Xbox boss said that Microsoft won't be able to hold off on a price increase for its products forever. Quote, I do think at some point we'll have to raise the prices on certain things, but going into this holiday, we thought it was important to maintain the prices, Spencer said. We've held price on our console, we've held price on games, and our subscription. I don't think we'll be able to do that forever. I do think at some point we'll have to raise some prices on certain things. That's not to say there are currently plans or timings in place to increase the price, however, at least for consoles, as Spencer said in September that Microsoft currently has no plans to increase the price of the Xbox Series X or S. Spencer had first said the Xbox's price wouldn't increase after Sony announced a price hike, which we covered on this show, citing global inflation rates, yada yada. Sony said it would be raising the prices of the PlayStation 5 in Europe, UK, Middle East, Africa, etc., 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 so on and so forth. So, Connor, Xbox price increases. We don't know on what yet. What do we think this has entail for Xbox players?
Well, you see, I get it with their subscription services like Games Pass. I don't know how much they would increase it if they end up actually doing that. Maybe it's $20. I know for PC and PlayStation, PC and Xbox, and you can choose to just get one or the other for $10. A $5 price hike would be very reasonable. $10 maybe even, but anything beyond that
for the combined one, I could see a $10 increase would make sense.
Yeah, but I'm kind of iffy on that. Depends on how they do it. But as far as hardware goes, specifically the consoles themselves, they're already really pricey, and increasing it just seems like it kind of defeats the point. Not only to get an Xbox, but to remain with Xbox. I mean, at that point, I'd just go for a PC if they're going to increase it more than $500. You can get a pre-built one and then do a lot more with it, and it probably even run better, possibly, depending on how you built it or what kind of model you bought. And then there's obviously PlayStation, which they haven't said that they're going to increase a price hike, and their console's already kind of, you already have more reason to get a PlayStation console.
In North America, they're not increasing prices, at least.
Yes. So, this is all, of course, speculatory. Maybe they even back off this entirely. Who knows? But just increase some. Just when I hear them say they're going to increase possibly the console price, it just makes me think, why?
Mhm.
So, uh, sum it all up. Subscription services, okay, makes sense. Consoles, maybe you're going to get a little bit backlash from that because it's already super pricey.
It is pretty pricey, and this is the first time that we can think of in history to where like the consoles increased after launch. Like
That's
that,
true.
I don't think has ever happened before. And yeah, I'm kind of siding with you where I think we'll see it on the subscription side. Maybe Xbox Gold, maybe
Mhm.
Game Pass, maybe they combine those two finally and then give us a $15 increase or a $10 increase per month. We're starting to push, kind of what we're asking for here. Maybe we get like some tiered services or something. But yeah, I think the smart move would be, and I wouldn't be mad at it. There was also a quote earlier this week of Phil Spencer saying, "Yeah, the subscriptions on the console side of Game Pass have slowed down because at some point you kind of just tap out, and everybody is subscribed who is going to ever subscribe, and the ones who aren't just never will." Whereas the PC market is still increasing, fervently, which it would make sense to increase the price of that subscription service if subscribers slow down but the catalog continues to expand. That's expensive. I would understand the need to go up $5 a month, maybe even $10 a month, or maybe somewhere in the middle, to appease both of us. And as a consumer, yeah, it is unfortunate, but this is how you continue to increase the quality of Game Pass. Game Pass is the greatest deal in gaming right now. Easily, hands down, no competition. Kicks the shit out of everything in the market. And I just think, yeah, for $10 a month, having access to all these games, and we have a family plans incoming, and inflations and so forth, and everything's going digital anyway. It makes sense to make this your main, source of revenue. And let's be honest, Xbox hasn't cared about its consoles for a minute now. Like that's not their main goal. They still want you to buy one, but that's not their main goal. It's selling Game Pass to you now is their main, plan of action. And in that, I think it makes sense to stick to your guns on the hardware front. Yeah, no, keep it at the price it's at. Maybe increase the Series S, the lower version of the model, but keep the X the same. And then yeah, I think the focus should be on Game Pass to continue widening those margins in order to continue increasing your catalog and increasing the draw into why we as gamers want to continue being a part of Game Pass. Would I like it to be the same? Of course. That's my pocketbook you're talking about. But at the same time, do I need it to be the same? I don't know. I don't think so. It's a really good deal. It's almost highway robbery. So I wouldn't be mad at an increase in price, especially because it's so versatile. Like there's so much offered there that like you just can't get anywhere else.
Mm-hmm.
Especially because we know, Xbox does have some heat coming eventually. Hopefully, fingers crossed, from their first party studios. And, I think it makes sense to continue that a price hike here as much as I would like to keep it at $10.
Yeah, I mean, of course, and they could just back off. I don't think they will. This is a weird statement to say and then back down off of it, especially when it's completely unprompted and doesn't really have a specific direction. I can see like
Well, it seems
see
like
them
this is
increasing
something happening higher up. Like this is someone higher up than Phil Spencer is being told to do this. You know what I mean? So even though Phil Spencer is the head of Xbox, he's got bosses too.
Yeah.
So everybody wants to make more money. More money is being thrown around. Game Pass is a huge success. It makes sense to increase, supply, demand, classic things, Tough, but kind of is what it is.
Mm-hmm.
Connor, that's it for the news this week.
News is news.
This is normally where we would jump into what we've been playing. However, Connor, you and I have both been just heads down focused on Dishonored for our video game book club series where we rank and review video games of yore on the first episode of every month. you, me, Phil are going to sit down and review ourselves some Dishonored, the definitive edition, I assume, for all of us,
Yeah.
next week. So, if you're playing along with us, make sure you have your playthroughs ready to go and opinions formatted for to drop some comments and some conversation alongside with us. But we've got nothing to talk about this week because we can't talk about that because we've got the review coming next week. So I don't know. I'm continuing to have fun with Marvel Snap. I've been I want to play the Resident Evil Village Ethan Winters expansion, whatever it's called, dropped this week. I want to play it. I don't know if I'll have time to play it because as soon as we drop that Dishonored review, like 3 days later, God of War Ragnarok is here. So expect a God of War Ragnarok the week after that. So I don't know if I'll ever get around to talking about the Winters expansion. I don't even know if I'll have time to ever get around to playing it, because the holidays are also certainly going to mess up our schedules a little bit and make things a little complicated. So yeah, there's all that. Connor, anything you want to add before we sign off here?
I guess one thing. Are you playing the DLCs for Dishonored?
I'm not.
Mhm.
I just won't have time before we review it.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah, I'll say I've completed my playthrough.
You're just going back to it.
Huh?
You've been going back to it?
Well, if you're paying attention to psnprofiles.com/Tasman1220, you'll see that there's been a couple new additions. To my trophy collection there. So, keep an eye on that for just a few more days and you might see a big new addition, A certain number might increase.
I doubt it. Somebody tells me you can't get platinums all that well. I mean, Phil's already beating you so badly.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, that's it. Thank you so much for listening to the Two Penny Gamescast, episode 119. I've been Tavin Bothel. This is Connor Elliott. Until next time, have a great time. Say goodbye to the people, Connor.
Next time, we'll see you with more diverse choices in shirts.
I was thinking that at the top of the show. I'm like, man, we just keep wearing these white t-shirts. We're so lame. Anyways, everybody have a good night.